Hi again, guys. Thought I'd show you some of the equipment that we have to look at fruit flies and fruit fly movement. So I'm over here next to the cold room, which is where we keep all our flies. Hi, Mary. So we keep our flies generally in these bottles. So there's not really good lighting over here, but what you can see on the bottom is the food. So this is a molasses-based food, and so if you remember from the life cycle diagram, the flies will lay eggs, those will hatch, they'll eat, and then they'll crawl up onto the sides and pupate. So the first and second instar larvae and the embryos, they're all kind of in the food, and they'll eat and eat and eat, and then they'll crawl up on the side. And so some of, so we can show this, the lighter guys, like that one there, those are the third instar larvae, and those become, they'll pupate, so that once they reach what's called the wandering stage, they'll wander up onto the side, pupate, and then stay there for a couple days, and then after that's when they'll hatch into adults. So all the life cycle guys in here, except there's no adults, there's only larvae and pupae. If we want to look at embryos or early larvae and we want to get them at a specific stage, what we can do is put them in what's called a collection cup. So you can see there are adults crawling around in here. And on the bottom, this is a plate. Again, this is a molasses-based food, but this is with more agar in it, and that will be a tougher surface, and so it's not quite as soft, so the larvae won't immediately crawl into the food, so we'll be able to pick them off if we need to. If we need a lot of larvae or embryos, we use these bigger collection cages, and so if we tap them, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of hard to see that there's flies crawling around up here. This is a mesh top to give them air, and you can see the flies back here. We take this plate then, and we can use the microscope and pull off the stages that we're interested in. A lot of times we have different kinds of flies, so like I was showing you before, we have all different mutations. And so we can keep them in smaller containers, and these are vials, and again they have this molasses food at the bottom. Okay, so one of the cool things that we do is we film them, and then we have this software that tracks their movement and creates kind of like a line path showing where all they move, and then we have software that analyzes that and tells us how fast they're moving, how far they're moving, and if that's statistically different from different mutations. So the way that we do that is we call this the Loco Arena, and so it's got a hole at the top right there, and you can take your phone and turn on the camera right there, and so the camera will go directly on that hole. And then what we can do is we can take a plate. We use the dark plates for larvae because the larvae are like a whitish off yellow color. And we can put that plate in the Loco Arena. And we like to keep it nice and dark in here so that we just see the larvae very easily. And then we'll just film them. And we film 1-minute videos. And the videos we then collect. We use that software to analyze them, and then we do it many, many, many times to get a really high sample size. And we can also look at adults too. So we have smaller plates. They're about that big, and they're a lighter color because the adults aren't as light. They're a little bit darker, so create a nice bit of contrast. And so we can put them in here as well and film them. And you can imagine that they move a little bit differently, so we create the plates to not have a lot of vertical distance. We don't really want them flying around. We just want to track their crawling motion. To test flight, we actually don't do that in our lab, but a lot of labs have what's called a flight simulator. And so it's a system kind of like this. It's a little bit smaller, but they have cameras at all different angles, and what they do is they just put a fly in there and they just let it fly around, and they can track all its different movements. So it's 3D, so it's X, Y, and Z as well. So then they can see if they fly at all, if their flying's impaired, how fast they fly, how far they fly, how long they fly, how long they sit in between flights. So all kinds of different things that we can test using our Loco Arena, using flight simulators. And so these are the ways that we can see how well our fruit flies move around using our model SMA guys. All right, so that's what I have for now. Next time you see me, it'll be in the flesh, and we will talk about immunology, but I can also answer any questions you might have about fruit flies, spinal muscular atrophy, or CRISPR if we want to talk about that. All right, talk to you guys later.